Emily knows best. The island of Sodor has many beautiful sights. There are green fields and hills, and many beautiful castles. The engines of Sodor love to visit them all. One day, Emily was dropping visitors at the ruined castle. Once upon a time, a queen had lived there. I'd like to be a queen, thought Emily. Queens are in charge and tell everybody what to do. Down the hill from the castle, Toby and Percy arrived. They were to shunt freight cars. Percy had never worked there before. Ooh, look at the castle, peeped Percy excitedly. I wonder who used to live there. A king and queen, said Toby. They ruled the island and told everyone what to do. And he chuffed towards the freight cars. Percy stared at the castle. He was dreaming of kings and queens. Percy, called Toby, come along. We've got a lot to do today. Waiting for passengers is boring, huffed Emily. Then she remembered that Toby and Percy were working near the castle. It would be much more fun to visit them, she said. Toby and Percy were waiting to be coupled up when Emily chuffed in. She was very excited about the castle. Percy, she whistled, I've had an idea. Let's play a game. Percy looked pleased. I'll be queen, and I'll tell you what to do today, she said. It'll be fun. Percy liked the idea of having fun, but Toby thought Emily's idea was silly. You have to be clever to be a queen, he said wisely, and know the right thing to do. I always know what to do, huffed Emily. Toby laughed. That made Emily cross. I'll show Toby that Queen Emily knows best, she wished. Toby was now coupled up to his freight cars. Percy thought his looked like troublesome trucks. Don't worry, said Toby. I'll be back soon. If you can't manage the troublesome trucks, wait for me and I'll tell you what to do. And Toby steamed slowly away. The troublesome truck started to moan and groan. No, you don't. They clattered and chattered. Percy knew they were going to be trouble. Emily had been watching Percy. If I want to be a queen, I must tell Percy what to do, she thought, because I know best. Percy was shunting the troublesome trucks as hard as he could, but they wouldn't move. They were being very difficult. Emily chuffed to a halt. Percy, she whistled loudly, I am the queen today. I will tell you what to do. Percy was worried. Toby usually knew best. Take these troublesome trucks along my tracks, said Emily. It's faster, and they won't complain. Toby will be pleased when he sees how quick you are. Percy wanted Toby to be pleased. I'll do as you say, Queen Emily, he tooted. Emily was pleased with herself. She watched as Percy blew a big whoosh of steam. Percy puffed, and he chuffed, and the troublesome truck sped off. Emily let out a whoosh of steam. She did know best. But suddenly, there was a terrible noise. As the dust cleared, Emily saw what had happened. The troublesome trucks had run into Mavis, who was waiting on the track. Luckily, no one was hurt. But her load of stone had spilled all over the lines, and one of the freight cars had come off the rails, knocking over a telephone pole. Percy, cried Mavis, you're not supposed to be on this track. Emily was shocked. Then there was another loud crash. It was Toby. His wheels had struck the telephone pole and he was derailed. Emily knew this was all her fault, but she didn't know what to do. The telephone line was down, so no one could call for help. Mavis couldn't move. She was stuck amongst the freight cars. And Percy couldn't move either. I'm sorry, Toby, cried Emily. I can't be a queen. I don't know what to do. I don't know best. Toby wished out a great cloud of steam. I know what to do, he cried. Emily, you must go and get help. Emily knew Toby was right. She steamed off as fast as she could. Emily whooshed to a halt at Maithwaite Station. She told the station manager what had happened. Quickly, he phoned for help. Soon, Toby had been lifted back up onto the rails. He wasn't hurt, but his cowcatchers would need to be repaired. Emily chuffed into the shunting yards. Sir Topham Hatt was very cross. Emily, he boomed, you have caused confusion and delay. Luckily, Toby knew what to do, he added sternly. I'm sorry, Emily said. Knowing the right thing to do isn't as easy as I thought, she chuffed. In future, I'll leave that job to a king, or a queen, or to Toby.